UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Hello and welcome. I don't know what my brain just complete. I was in NLC mode where I get handed to and I'm like, thanks very much, Scoundrel. Hello and welcome back to the UKLC. You can see that we are currently melting. The sunburn is setting in from a lovely weekend. Now, Scoundrel, this is Enclave versus MNM. This is our two front runners at the UKLC going head to head. After this game, one of these teams will finally have a team in first place that isn't tied with someone. It took us 5 weeks to get here, but we will finally make it.
I'm excited. I'm excited for a real front runner to emerge here, HitBrain. That's the goal. And this is actually going to be a really interesting one. It's going to be the closest game of the day, I feel. Both of these teams are incredibly good. Interesting to hear Reclamation's perspective on it, where he said essentially MNM are better than the sum of their parts, which basically translates to not the best individual players in the world, but when they come together as a squad are very, very, very difficult to beat and work very well as a unit. Whereas actually Enclave have got some really good individual players. And so, you know, I think it's difficult to call this one way or the other. I think this will be very close. MNM have classically been a very, very strong team to beat in the UKLC. But hearing that perspective from Reclamation was very interesting for sure.
And kind of hitting on the individual talent, especially if we look over at Enclave. Jacob last season was in a Thomas Go situation where he was on a team at the bottom of the standings, but an individually incredibly talented mid laner. And since joining Enclave, he's had that ability to shine. But for me, when I look at Enclave, there are two names that jump out to me. It is the bot lane, Rabstar and Shogun. They have been so exciting to watch because even when Rabstar kind of runs it down a little bit, Shogun has been really showing up for him and making sure that he, you know, the lane isn't completely lost. And last week we saw Rabstar not just kind of in the first 10 minutes and then pull it back late game. He had a very tempered laning phase and there was a bit of growth coming in from him there. So this bot lane is going to be where my eyes are, especially when you're going up versus Harry in the bot lane for MNM. This guy draws Caitlyn bans. He has a very vast champion pool. I've been casting him for ages when he was previously called Flubber over in one of the other UK scenes, the Arena Clash kind of grassroots scenes. And he used to play games where they would actually have 4 supports. That's how hard this guy likes to carry, and that's how he likes to be played around. But last week, it wasn't the Harry show, it was the Vango show. And we actually saw some growth from MNM. So both of these two teams have shown us different play styles and different ways to play in the last few weeks. And that's what I'm excited for here.
Yeah, I completely agree. Actually, going back to the Rabstar point, I remember Orcs describing him as having the potential to be one of the best AD carries in the UK if he just stopped positioning like he didn't have a brain. Basically, is the way that Orcs described it. You know, that the guy's mechanics is great, his champion pool is fantastic, his laning phase is good, but he just sometimes doesn't quite think about where he's standing in team fights and in skirmishes, and often gets picked off really easily. And I think, you know, to see that improvement from him would be really, really good, because I do think he has the potential to be one of the better players that we have in our entire, you know, in our entire league. And Harry has been a surprise for me. Not someone that I knew of coming into the UK LC this time round, and obviously has the pocket picks of like the Caitlyn and stuff like that. But Vango is someone that I did know about, and Vango is a very strong mid laner. You know, I expect him to be up there with the likes of D.Va in terms of carry potential. And it's nice to see MNM have that evolution.
Yeah, we'll have to see whose evolution has been greater here as we'll be loading through into Champ Select after this break. So don't go anywhere, because this is the match of the day. We'll see you in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our fourth and final game of the day. It's MNM Academy taking on Enclave, the two top teams going head-to-head, and we are into Champ Select, getting ready to go. MNM on the blue side, Enclave on the red. I expect to actually see a lot of AD carries getting taken out in this first Champ Select, because I feel Harry and Rabstar are the people who are going to shine hardest here.
Yeah, I think, yeah, well, you said it. I mean, it's quite clearly... we are just focusing down these AD carry pools. Thresh goes away for Shogun. Caitlyn away from Harry. Ezreal away from Rabstar. These are all very, very comfortable champions for those particular players.
There goes the Aphelios. Probably see the Varus getting taken away as well as maybe the Kalista, unless they want to trade it off. But there's the Varus, so I feel like you kind of almost want to ban the Kalista here. They actually go for the Graves, because actually when I think of it, Harry likes to play kind of hyper carries. You kind of scale up a little bit more than the likes of the Kalista. Rabstar
really
doesn't like
style,
Kalista though, so we actually could see a Kalista come out for Enclave if MNM don't pick it up. They are going to pick up the set. It's been banned all day. Only Angel's been first picking it pretty much every game he can. So
yeah,
kind of makes sense there. Aragon obviously being one of the star top laners we were highlighting at the beginning of the day, but for Enclave, I'd actually really like to see the Kalista come through here. Maybe pair that up with the TF as well. Yeah,
Kalista TF or Kalista Nautilus, I think it's a pretty good rotation. But Ashe, this is probably why Kalista was left open, because when Kalista is getting picked, a lot of people are picking up Ashe as a potential pickup into her in lane.
I don't know why I keep forgetting Ashe. I keep forgetting about Ashe as a champion at the moment.
She's only recently crept back into the meta, realistically, you know.
Yeah, true. That's a Ziggs.
That's going to be a Ziggs. It has the potential to be bot or mid, realistically.
Interesting if they show that bot lane for me, personally. I haven't seen Harry play a mage, but that'd be some new growth. We'll see what they want to pair up here, but I like the flexibility from that.
It is flexible. That's the point, right? You know, you're not entirely sure where you're going with it. It would be interesting if you put it with the Nautilus, because usually you want to pair Ziggs up with a very heavy push bot laner, because you just want to take advantage of getting those plates super early on. Karma would be the obvious choice to pair up with the Ziggs on the bottom side of the map. So I'm imagining this is actually for Vango in the mid lane, because you don't usually put Nautilus with Ziggs, because Nautilus, unless you're just looking to zone out, Nautilus isn't exactly a pick that generally has a lot of shove potential.
Looks like Enclave aren't completely sold on that, though, as they actually banned the TF away from Vango. Is the pocket pick for him, so it makes sense, along with that Galio. So denying him any kind of roaming picks there. As the Azir will be the final ban. Jacob has looked fantastic on the Azir previously. And now it's over to Enclave to pick up their mid laner, their jungler. I mean, technically, the Wukong's flexible, actually.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Usually you see Wukong go top. You don't see as many Wukong junglers these days. But as I say that, good blind pick for Only Angel in the form of Aatrox. Quite, you know, obviously we still have to assume that that set could be flexed to the jungle position here.
There is a lot of flexibility in this Champ Select. Now MNM looking around out their comp, we'll figure out where everything goes. That is the Renekton lock-in here. So that set jungle, actually, or set mid, but realistically with the Ziggs, that's set jungle. And I expect this to be an AD carry for Harry, unless Harry is actually going to start playing mages.
Because I would imagine this is an AD carry for Harry, just because I think they were... No, okay. I mean, it's a Zoe. So it is actually going to be a Ziggs Nautilus bot lane. This was a wild ride MNM draft. I have no idea what I'm looking at now. There's a little bit of a lack of consistent AD damage in my eyes. Even though you have the set and the Renekton, there's no ranged AD damage, which can be a bit of an issue from time to time. And I actually really like the Corki. Like, I think it's a really solid pickup in this scenario. Very safe. It's a good Jacob pick. The only issue that I think Enclave are going to have is they don't really have anyone to soak damage. They either have to go in, which I suppose they could do with the Ashe ultimate, but I think I'm slightly leaning towards Enclave here just because of the draft.
Yeah, I really like their comp, actually. And time and time again, we've seen people with the Corki comps pick up the package as Drake starts to get contested. They don't actually pick it up instantly as soon as it spawns. They want to get it for that dragon. And then they basically have it synced up with the dragon timer so they can consistently have a package to use if a dragon fight starts out. You pair that up with the Glacial Fissure, the Ash Arrow as well. There is a disgusting wombo combo around the dragon area that MNM are always going to have to play around. And I am worried that have MNM actually got a comp to deal with this? This is a real concern for me here because I'm not sure if they can deal with what Enclave will bring into this game.
You can't face check MNM. That's the thing about MNM's comp. There's no face checking of this composition because you'll just die. So if you lose control of an area, especially around a neutral objective, then there is no way that you find your way back into the game, or there's no way that you find your way back into one of those fights, just because versus a Zoe, a Ziggs, a Nautilus, you cannot enter areas of no vision control because they will just blow you up. And they have really good team fight potential as the game goes on. You've got 2 tanky front, maybe 3 if you count the Nautilus. You've got plenty of AoE mixed single target damage. The only issue that they're going to face is they're a little light on physical damage, especially as the game progresses, because obviously as you go further and further, you're not going to be able to get Set and Aatrox as consistent AD damage dealers because they're going to have some kind of tanky capability.
So let's have a little talk about this top lane. With the Renekton for Aragon. Aragon was a player who we were highlighting all day as being one of our top laners in the league. He's up versus Only Angel. Only Angel, the previous top laner for MNM in previous splits gone by, actually, when he returned to the UK scene, made his debut on this Aatrox, and it was sick. It was so exciting. This is 2 carry top laners, and these are 2 of my favorite top laners in the league going head to head. So talk to me a little bit about this matchup at Scoundrel.
Gonna be honest with you, this is a matchup that's existed for a very long time, and most people call it a bit of a skill matchup. What I would say is that Only Angel is on a pick that he said that's very comfortable for him, but also Aragon, I think, is most played as Renekton this split. It's another pick that I think he feels really comfortable on. This to me feels like more of a skill matchup than anything else. There are very few matches that go really poorly for Aatrox as there are Renekton. So the kind of the edges are going to be found by micro advantages picked up by either of our top laners.
All right, well, that could be a fun one to watch. This whole game, every lane has got me excited. But maybe this mid lane, Corki versus Zoe, will eventually just turn into wave clear, and then maybe Zoe can find a bubble, but Jacob realistically should be fairly safe with the Valkyrie. But bottom top, especially the jungle as well, where they're going to intervene, is going to be incredibly interesting to me in this game.
Well, there's plenty of roam potential to match the Zoe on the Corki, which is nice, you know. Especially when you have the package, it's really important that you're able to do that, because we saw what happened with the Zoe versus a static mid laner matchup where the Kog'Maw just got out-roamed completely. So it is important that we have this for Enclave, because, you know, they need a mid laner that's going to have that capability. Otherwise, they're going to just get caught out. They're going for a late invade onto the red side here, but MNM are pinging this out.
Yep, catch him out with the bomb. It looks like with that knowledge, Gadonica actually just going to bolt over to his blue buff, give up this objective, and may just go for a counter invade into the enemy red side. There is a ward in the bush that will spot him out, and Gadonica very far behind in tempo. He's not even started his jungle camp yet, as Rafa will just be finishing up his red buff now.
Yeah, he's decided to go for vertical jungling, but he wants to make sure that he gets this red buff. There's no cheeky business, or monkey business, I guess I should say, where Rafa maneuvers over. Yeah, I know, and he maneuvers over to his top side of the map after getting his the red buff and goes from red to red. He doesn't want to see a red to red happen, so Gadonica just decides to go vertical jungling, split the map, and they trade red for red in this scenario. And now Gadonica looking for a top lane level 2.
Yeah, but Rafa also looking for something onto Vango. Vango does land the bubble onto the right clone and is able to actually get away with a nice trade, chunking Rafa out there.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a bit of an issue for Rafa, who doesn't really have many sustain mechanics in the jungle. We'll have to wait for that smite to come back up before he goes for that blue buff. I imagine he might get a blue side clear off and then back and then look for something on the top side of the map. He didn't lose many camps in his red side jungle, of course, so he still has a little bit of a camp advantage on that side of the map. But when you get taken that low as a Wukong, again, there isn't that much sustain for you naturally built into your kit.
It's a very rough bot lane early for the Ziggs. Once he's got the Ludens, he's able to kind of cut through the wave nice and easily. But the moment it takes him multiple bombs just to hit out the back wave, they are going to look for a little something onto Shogun, but they're able to jump away. But this does mean Enclave can just push in the bot side. Rabstar and Shogun got complete control of this area of the map. And I mean, Rafa feels comfortable to move forward, get the crab for himself on the bot side. Eragon, though, and Gadanica looking to jump in for the dive. Only Angel does look to jump away as the Facebreaker gets used, and Eragon will find first blood. Rabstar teleports in, trying to secure the kill onto Gadanica, but Gadanica flashes away. Eragon's going to zone him off, and Rabstar can't find anything in return.
I just didn't have the vision to put down that bot side of the map. This is actually wild now. They've gone for a very early swap. That's a really interesting play from Rabstar, because that's also messed up his back timings completely now as well, because he teleported directly from lane. He doesn't actually have anything to work with in terms of backing potential. Beautifully coordinated dive by MNM from Gadanica and Eragon. I mean, only Angel under a lot of pressure early on, but this has turned out very weird. Also, he's going to have to swap back bot, because you can't let the Ziggs just go into a 2v1, because the Ziggs is just going to get free plates, which is exactly what you would have wanted.
When I see Renekton previously with Orcs always talks to me about how Renekton plus like Elise is one of the best early level tower divers in the game. The ability to kind of get the hard engaged CC in there. You have obviously the repel to negate some of the tower damage. I guess it's a similar thing with the set, because you've got a lot of hard CC between the pair of them, and the dash to get out for Eragon and the Facebreaker shield, sorry, the Haymaker shield on the set to kind of negate some of the tower damage. It actually does make for a pretty nifty early tower diving comp, and only Angel did feel the pain on that. And he's trying to trade out versus Eragon here for the moment. Eragon now level 5. We might see some more kind of action break out in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think really Renekton's just a great early game tower diver in general. Like, he just has such a beautiful kit for tower diving. Like, he has the mobility to get in and out of the tower range. He has the targeted stun, which deals a significant amount of damage, and he has the sustain. Like, it's just really good all-round champion for that kind of play. Teleport into the mid lane from Vango. It's going to allow MNM to secure the first Drake of the game. They got a good shove in the bot side, and unfortunately, Rafa just not in position to contest.
That actually will also throw off that package timer part I was talking about. Obviously, Jacob will get his package around 8 minutes, so he could maybe use it to just get control of the Herald. But obviously, it does desync his package from future Dragons unless he wants to wait an extra couple of minutes to pick up his package on his recall. Gone for the tier already, so looking to stack that up as quick as possible. But the Lost Chapter has been picked up for Vango here. It looks like Gadanica's maybe looking for a little something onto Shogun. Shogun's already thrown out that Winter's Bite, and Dreampire flashes forward, gets himself the hook into Gadanica, coming in with a Facebreaker, gonna land it onto 2. That'll be the end of Rabstar, as the Haymaker to the face will take Rabstar down.
Oh my word, that is punishing that Rabstar flash earlier on in the top side of the map, and MNM off to a brilliant start here versus Enclave. And again, just really coordinated. I think it speaks volumes to what we heard Reclamation say. Like, they are better than the sum of their parts. They're a great team, and they function really well together. There might not be any individual names that you sort of look at before this split started and think, wow, like, big players. But as a team, my God, Jacob. As a team, they've looked incredible.
I don't know if you're saying that to me or Jake.
Both
He's going to be able to get away. Vango running away. I don't know why I even assumed that. My name's not even Jacob.
Is it actually just Jake?
It's just Jake on my birth certificate. Cool fact.
What do you think my birth certificate name is?
Kin, and I don't know your middle name, Low. Is Kiernan short for something? It can't be.
My actual name is Sir Bartholomew Kiernan. No, fucking, it's not.
Oh boy.
Okay, what was your fun fact? Sorry, I interrupted your fun fact.
So, Jake or Jacob was originally an alternative for John. which is a Christian name. Same for Jack as well. They were alternative names to that, but might have to hold that as Only Angel's just going to get squashed. Guernica finds himself his second kill, and that should just be the Rift Herald for MNM.
Is this like I don't know, like hipster 0 AD parents that were like, there's too many Johns, there's too many Jacks, we need to have some Jakes.
I actually think that was genuine where it came from, because there weren't that many Christian names back when Christianity first formed. So they just started using alternative versions of the names, and they then slowly became Jack, Jake, and I think there was like another one as well.
Imagine
they were like
hipster
alternatives to John.
Hipster parents existing for like the entirety of time. No, no, darling, we can't call our son John. There is already 60 Johns in this town. So it's got to be
Someone
Jake.
was always hip at some point. Like, at some point, it was hip to wear white tights with like a 3/4 length trousers and that frilly top thing that around your neck. That was hip at one point.
That was the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get your own Juliet, that's what you had to wear.
I was gonna quote some Shakespeare, and then I realized I am not educated enough to know Shakespeare.
I was going to quote some Shakespeare, but then I realized I didn't know any, so I just didn't.
I went to drama school and I still didn't know any.
I thought you went to music school.
No, I did drama on the side.
Ooh,
that was before music, actually. I had an
that was
agent.
your side hustle.
Might have to hold about that as Guernica going to get jumped into. Chains are on. Down he goes. The shutdown's actually picked up for Rafa as Vango actually finds himself a juicy little bubble onto Only Angel. That's going to chunk him down. Actually burns the Ignite. Vango actually looking to go all in onto Only Angel here. Gets himself the second bubble. Can't quite find the kill, but the hook is onto Jacob. And now Jacob looking to turn it around with Shogun. Dodging away on that Winter's Bite. And MNM are able to actually get out as Rafa tries to block out on the Paddle Star, but Vango just misses it.
Yeah, a little bit of a sneaky pickup there for the Enclave roster, but can they turn it into a second dragon? That's the question. I think it was just a little bit too early. That peaked just ever so slightly too early for the Enclave guys, because Guernica is back up and into the fray. He's a little bit of a level disadvantage versus his counterpart, but that should clear up with a couple more CS that he's able to get into range of.
What is Harry building? I've just taken a look at his build, and he's not going for the Ludens.
Maybe going for Morella.
He might just be going for an early Oblivion Orb for the pen. And
yeah, Oblivion
Health,
Orb
I guess.
For the pen. I guess we'll have to see.
Now, Rapstar's build is interesting here. Now I look at it.
Early Zonya's maybe because of the.
Wait,
I mean, he looks like he's going. It looks like he's going haunting guys next, right?
Yeah, he must be. But I want to talk about something else. Rapstar's going for the Manamune Ash.
Interesting.
That is very different.
It's something that we've seen a little bit of in the past, but it's also something that doesn't quite have the same spike potential at 2 items. So you say that Shogun gets dragged back in by Guernica. They were just looking for a pick to allow them to set up for this this dragon fight. Dreampire yet to hit level 6, by the way. So there is that ultimate available for Shogun that Dreampire hasn't got, but you can see Dreampire has just now hit 6, so that's good.
That's like, I'm just going to start this Herald up. Rafa's waiting in the wings to see if he can do something here. If that gets low enough, remember, it is a Zig. They get themselves the combo. The Cyclone's on, and Harry has to flash away as he's taken down. Guernica gets a big old haymaker off, and Shogun may just find himself caught out. Aragon unable to join. Great arrow by Rapstar. Is there the Punisher? Looks like MNM are just going to turn their attention towards this Infernal Drake. But the Smite is actually down for the Guernica. So this could be pretty dangerous. This could be pretty hairy. Don't quite have it up in time. And Shogun has to go golden. Rafa trying to buy some space for his team as Vango looks to join into the fray. Only Angel already very low, but so is Guernica.
Oh,
Jacob now
Aragon.
firing out, but Aragon finds himself a double kill. He's onto Rafa. Gets himself the triple kill. Looking for Jacob more now, but they can't go for it. MNM turn it back around, and they're looking for the dragon.
Oh, you don't mess with a Blade of the Ruined King Renekton in an early game team fight. Like, just sits there, ultimate burning, everybody clumped up on top. Like, oh my word, Aragon. That's why this guy is a Renekton monster in the top lane. Beautifully timed, and immediately on to Rabstar, who doesn't have that Blade of the Ruin King himself, doesn't have the kiting potential versus the likes of Aragon. And Aragon will be it'll be much easier for Aragon with this Blade of the Ring to chase down those players like Jacob and Rabstar.
So more effectively now. And that's not even a sentence. That didn't make sense, but it's going to be a lot more effective now.
I wasn't going to say. I wasn't going to say, my dude.
My English is failing me right now. You see Vango using...
I too sew more effectively.
Vango using the more sparkles to actually get himself an additional plate. Zoe actually very effective at taking these early plates when you can just weave the passive into your autos and just quickly, so more effectively take down the plates.
This is now a phrase.
It is now a phrase.
Are we making this a phrase now?
Let's go for it.
God, he's going to so more effectively clear this wave out and then potentially so more effectively clear that top lane tower out with his Hextech Satchel charge.
Yeah, it's pretty good at taking down those towers. It should be just a few autos before it goes. 1, 2, there you go. I'm still curious what this Amp Tome and this Ruby Crystal is going to become for Harry.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Haunting Guys into whatever, Leandries, I assume, eventually. Honestly, mate, it's been a long time since I've looked at item build paths. So, does Haunting Guys use a Lost Chapter to build? No, it doesn't, right?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay, so
no, not Lost Chapter. Sorry, Haunting Guys. Sorry, Haunting Guys is Blasting Wand, Amp Tome, Ruby Crystal. Same components as a Morello's as well, actually.
Well, it could be a Morello's.
It could be a Morello's. I just don't see why you don't go for the Ludens. The Ludens is such a massive spike for the Ziggs. Just really ups your wave clear, but I guess he just wants the immediate pen from the Oblivion Orb, or, you know, the immediate, like, continual damage for the Haunting Guys offers. We'll have to see.
Well, he hasn't backed in a while, it feels like, so...
No, he hasn't backed in a long time.
Could potentially see that, so we can get a so more effectively build out of him.
I'm very curious about this Manamune build on Rabstar. Obviously, it has a great scaling potential because just Manamune is a scaling item. The more abilities you spend, obviously, the more mana you're going to stack up, the more AD you get eventually. But
well, it used to be the build on Ash. Like, I think maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, we were seeing quite a lot of this. I mean, maybe even further than that, we were seeing quite a lot of this Ash build as a Manamune first item. There was a point in time, I remember, with AD carries that anybody that could and effectively would use a Manamune would build it because it's just such a gold efficient item if you stack it up.
It kind of feels like that's the meta anyway at the moment as well. Just hence why we've seen the rise in the Corkis building the Manamune. Kai'Sa was kind of the first one to really start that, who wasn't Ezreal. But yeah, it's an interesting build by Rabstar, but obviously I see the potential on it. It obviously means he can spam his abilities in lane a lot more without having to worry about his mana pool getting shrunk down too much.
And maybe he's, I mean, I don't know. I just think Blade of the Ruin King maybe made sense because of the amount of sort of like frontliners that you're going to have to deal with, like Gardenia and Aragon, who all do have ways and build paths that generally tend to increase their maximum HP. So I feel like you'd get value out of it. There must be a reason that this build is being thought of. Actually, mate, Lost Chapter does build into Ludens. Why did you bait me?
No, Lost Chapter does, yeah. But it was the Ruby Crystal and the Amp Tome that was what's confusing me. Because he built that before the... Did I just bait you out?
You baited me out. I was like, I'm pretty sure it builds into Ludens, but I'm just not going to say anything because... No, it does build into Ludens. It was
I've
been a host for a long time, Jake, and I haven't done a huge amount of like in-game casting, so I was just gonna sit there and be like, yeah,
it's my so more effective way of baiting you out. No, he built the Lost Chapter, and then he basically got an Amp Tome and a Ruby Crystal, and that's kind of just spooned me out a little bit. I was really confused on what he was trying to do with that. I guess he just wanted like some immediate burst of damage, but after baiting Excalibur out, we do actually move back towards our next Drake that's spawning up. It is going to be the Cloud Drake, and MNM have got the inside track, have got the vision to work with to go for it. Vango also got the GLP as his spell thief item, so it's really hard to move through these corridors with the Zoe bubbles and the slows, and obviously Ziggs offers a lot of zone control around these objectives, especially if you're on the blue side, because you can set up and just cut off an entire path into the dragon area. Vango does find himself a cheeky bubble. Shogun does just tank it up though with the Unbreakable.
The benefit of Braum is that you have the ability to do that. Just soak a Zoe bubble, which could be very influential in the start of team fights. It's going to be Cloud Soul. We're one Drake away from that soul being completed. That's actually pretty good for Aragon, Vango. Like, a lot of people that actually really do make use of this quite nicely. Aragon and Godonica. It's actually a really nice soul for them, especially in these team fights where, you know, Aragon's going to have one opportunity to sort of jump on the back line, and just having that extra movement speed is really going to aid him in that regard.
It's been the day of actually pretty decent Cloud Drakes. Normally, you don't want to see the Cloud Drake, and I'm sure both of these teams would much rather have the Ocean. If you're a Set or a Renekton, the Ocean Soul is nasty to deal with. But, you know, Cloud is obviously incredibly effective, and when you got Rabstar slowing you down, and Aragon can double dash with the Dominus on and just use that movement speed to get on top of Rabstar, it actually is really, really effective. So does mean Rabstar has to play even safer versus Aragon, who's 4-0 on this Renekton off that incredible TP at the beginning of the game. And does feel like the pace is, you know, taking a bit of a back seat for the moment, as both of these teams, you know, just playing for the objectives they can. MNM, though, still have the control on the map.
Yeah, they're still in the lead. They don't need to do anything crazy. Like, their win condition is going to come through getting into that fourth Drake, trying to force Enclave into a position where they have to force a fight that they can't win. That will be the time where MNM can really look to push this game out. They've got a small gold lead right now. They just need to keep shoving in waves. They don't need to do anything crazy. If they get a pick, they get a pick. That's fantastic. Shogun immediately going to get targeted up.
Oh, the Mega Inferno Bomb actually pulled out by the hook. He uses the Stone Plate to stay alive, getting bopped around by the Bounce House as Rabstar loses half his health. Shogun also sent packing, and that's going to be Enclave having to look for some resets. The mana bar's too low. And MNM can look to continue to siege. With the Ziggs, every little bit of poke is so effective. As they get the stun, they get the damage, and Vango just squashes Only Angel.
Oh, but with the help of Vango, sorry, the help of Aragon as well. Beautifully timed combo for these guys. They're going to pick up another turret. And Only Angel has not had a good game so far. Aragon has had an absolute banger. They're just going to try and control this blue side jungle, steal away as many camps as they possibly can, and set up vision control for that fourth dragon in the game spawning in around 2 minutes.
So it was an Oblivion Orb, was what Harry was building towards. Deathcap now finished up onto Vango with the Ludens. This is the point where Rabstar starts to get very scared. Vango is going to be doing an incredible amount of damage, especially to these squishy members, and there hasn't really been much magic resist itemized anywhere. You see the Merc Treads getting picked up onto a couple of members, but that is really it as far as Enclave's magic resist goes. It's nice to see MNM recognizing, you know, where they were strong in this game, and they pulled the trigger on it.
It's going to be Harry now working towards what could be a couple of things. That could be Void Staff from this point. It could indeed be the what is that thing that Oblivion Orb builds into?
Morello's.
Yeah, but there's another one.
He's got the blasting wand, so he's only 500 gold off. Aragon's a little bit wide. They do find themselves a bubble onto Shogun, and Shogun gets chunked. Mega Inferno Bomb not quite enough to find the kill, however, and Shogun just about to get away with his life. That was really, really nasty.
Morello's makes sense because you're probably worried about the sustain from Only Angel on the front line. So if you apply one Morello stack to him, then he's going to be much easier to take out in these fights. And that'll be the only, apart from then the Wukong, who isn't, I don't even think is a huge threat right now. That's probably the only person that you're really worried about is the Ziggs.
And I feel like with the satchel as well, you can just disengage Wukong. As long as you hold the satchel for when Only Angel or Rafa jump on you, you send them flying away from you, you've got the bubble, you've got the CC from Dreampire. It's actually really hard for Rafa to execute onto Harry. He's gone for that Morello's, like we were saying. Got himself the other ramp tone, so I expect him to pick up a Haunting Guys at some point. And with this dragon spawning, it actually looks like MNM looking for a fight. They do get a face breaker off into the showstopper. Rabstar slams into the team. Aragon pots the Dominus, jumps onto the backline. AD carry down. Rafa thought the fight was happening at the pit. The MNM brought it to the mid lane, and that means they're going to be down an AD carry. He doesn't want anything to do with this objective, and MNM just going to go for the Cloud Soul.
Yeah, they'll get that pretty easily. And again, that timer that is put on top of Enclave when the first and second dragons fall, MNM were able to capitalize on that so nicely. They've been in a commanding positional game. And you're asking the question, which of our teams are going to come out as the clear leaders in the UKLC? It's MNM. They've looked so good over the last few weeks. I could barely put them. They barely put a finger wrong realistically in some of their games they played. Aragon has been so good. I'm so glad that Rifty pointed him out in the interview, because this has been a game that really exemplifies just what Aragon is capable of. Vango has been excellent too. And the bot side of the map, they haven't even had to do anything this game. It's just been satchel bot for Harry, but that's all he needed to do on the Ziggs. That's what Ziggs is good at. Taking early towers and snowballing leads.
And for the side of MNM, they lost this matchup last time. Versus Enclave, they did end up losing this match. So for them to get a win here, again, tiebreakers come up into question. So if they can close this game out versus Enclave, they equalize out on those tiebreakers, and that could be something that might blow open the potential here in the later stages of our tournament. So MNM just starting to kind of pull ahead here in this game. They've got a gold lead, a massive gold lead. They've got the Cloud Soul. And it feels like Enclave really had their backs to the wall here.
And again, like, they need so much time to scale. And even in scaling up, you have to deal with the Ziggs, who's one of the best scaling mages in the game. Now, I do think as the game progresses, the threats that the Enclave do have the potential to win out in the late game. But for the most part, MNM are in control of these fights and will be for the foreseeable future. Like, I don't believe the Manamune Runen spike is as good as the Blade of the Ruin King spike. He's gonna Gudanica.
X-Flash once again. They do not layer that up well. But it doesn't matter. The shutdown's been picked up. And actually, that's Aragon going down. Trying to get some damage off from Vango over the wall. But Only Angels popped the World Ender. Now got himself the Infernal Chains onto Gudanica, who is able to break it and pull away. MNM a little bit over eager there to try and make a pick, and they didn't lay out their abilities quite correctly. And once again, Harry's ultimate is pulled away from by someone else on the team.
Yeah, Harry just needs to either hold on to that or be more coordinated with the way that they approach it. Really good response from Enclave. They took a lot of damage from Vango, though. Vango was not there at the start, and now Shogun going to be the target.
Stoneplate is not going to save him today. Oh, I say that as it saves him. Shogun's able to walk away from that one. Now, crucially, Jacob got the big shutdown on Aragon. He's got the Manamune, he's got the Triforce, and the later this game scales, the Corki is going to be really, really nasty. That was a blue buff steal from Harry.
There we go, Harry. Now Rafa's going to be the target here.
He's trying to pretend to be a clone.
He's trying to do it over and over again.
He's actually done it. No, he gets chilling smited. Okay. Poor Rafa. I can't believe you've done this. Vango gets the kill. 3-0 on the Zoe right now.
Well,
Aragon actually... Oh, no. He's got the Cloud Soul, so he could just run Only Angel down. Only Angel also pretty quick with the World Ender, and it looks like MNM are just going to start up this Baron. It's not the fastest Baron for MNM, but they do have double smite because Vango is running one.
And they're also going up against a dead jungler, so they should be good enough.
Oh, that's a big bomb. Only Angel gets chunked out. With double smite, with the lead here, Dreampire. He's going to have to pop his own stone plate, look to flash away. The satchel's been used, and double smites go down. MNM pick up the Baron. 27 minutes on the clock, 10 kills on the board. 7,000 gold over Enclave. This is a very one-sided affair so far. And incredibly, this does not look like our two teams who are tied in first going toe-to-toe. This looks like a team who are clearly stronger than the other playing versus another one.
Yeah, the whole day's been super one-sided. You know, it's really been kind of sub 30-minute games across the board. One team taking significant advantage in the early game and just rolling with it. I would say this has been one of the more labored wins that we've seen today. Just by any kind of virtue, you would call this a bit of a confident performance from MNM. But in the context of today, this is one of the more labored victories. You know, if they do end up going on to win from this point onwards, it is definitely more labored than the sort of other games that we've seen today.
I think more than anything, that just kind of shows you how one-sided our games today have been, though. This is still incredibly controlled by MNM. Yes. They're playing with a lot of respect because they realize Enclave are a team that can punish them. They can find these openings. Shogun takes another bubble, is able to block it up and walk away. Only Angel on that flank, so keep your eyes on him. It looks like he wants it, but
yeah,
there's so much zone control to this MNM roster with the Ziggs and Zoe. These corridors are really hard to walk through without getting chunked out.
The siege is pretty difficult as well, though, versus the Corki Ash. Aragon's building up a huge minion wave in the side lane right now. They need to try and coordinate this into a double-pronged attack. That's what they're doing.
Do clash it at the right time there. Shogun loses half his health to one paddle star from Vango. Turret will fall down and mid lane inhibitor will be left exposed. But for now, it looks like MNM are going to have to wait a little bit before they can take it. Only Angel is able to defend this wave in the top side and might be on the receiving end of another dive from Aragon and Vango. Do just get a light trade-off, and inhibit the mid lane will fall as Only Angel dodges away on that paddle star by the skin of his teeth.
He's trying to siege up. They have that Ziggs. Remember, you know, as soon as you get anywhere close to taking the turret, Ziggs can pounce with that Hex Tech Satchel charge and crush the tower down. But it is going to be the setup for the Elder Dragon here. This would be a nail in the coffin for Enclave. They need to make this fight happen now.
Harry went to base.
He doesn't have a good ward to teleport to.
He didn't actually have the vision to teleport to, so that's actually MNM kind of having to back off for now. Vango's going to go to base himself. He does have an unsealed spellbook, so he might just be able to find a teleport somewhere. Isn't actually going to get it, but with the spell thief, obviously the movement speed he gets from burning his other summoner spells, he pops that ghost and he is going to be back so fast.
Right, it's going to be started up this Elder Dragon again. MNM want to draw Enclave into the fight. They are happy to do so. They think that they're stronger at this point in time. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Into the hook. This is the fight breaking out, and Enclave just getting crushed as soon as it starts. A double kill picked up by Vango. He's looking for another one, but looks like Enclave are just able to move away. Vango now flashing after Rabstar. Rabstar running to the wind, but Vango will hunt him down. He doesn't even have to land the skill shots. He gets himself the third in the fight, and this should just be MNM closing the game out.
Yeah, Jacob is left alive, but it'll be a 1 versus 4, and Vango, if he just lands one sleepy trouble bubble, you can't help but feel that Jacob will end up going down here. Plus, they have that Ziggs, very quick tower taking potential. Jacob will have to make an insane defense for him to come out on top.
Rafa's up in 10 seconds. Can he hold? Shogun's up as well. Turret number 1 will definitely fall with the satchel. And actually, with Godunaka going quite low, it looks like Enclave maybe have been able to dissuade MNM outside of their base. Rafa's coming in. It looks like Enclave not quite willing to give up yet. There's a teleport coming in onto the flank. MNM actually have to bring Aragon in with a teleport. Mega Inferno Bomb lands onto Shogun. He's able to dash away, and now Jacob may just find himself a juicy kill onto Dreampire, who hooks onto the wall to get away safely. And MNM are just about able to get away from this one.
Yeah, it was maybe ambitious with the death timers not being as long as they would have hoped, but this is the play for Enclave. They've managed to keep MNM away from the Elder Dragon. They've got a quick Elder Dragon take now as well. That's going down super quickly. MNM are going to have to make a last-minute effort.
They're going to have to look for the fight here. The arrow lands onto Dreampire, but he's already low from the last poke. Elder Drake picked up for Enclave, as they just may have bought themselves some time in this game.
MNM just too greedy. Way too greedy on that push, and they were taken so low. The chase down from Enclave was fantastic, and that is a huge pickup for a team that was so far behind.
Is it enough, though? It was a big pickup for them, but MNM can just keep them at arm's length. They've still got that gold lead. They've still got big items on their carries as well. If they just wait out this Elder, They should be fine. But if Enclave can force the issue, Corki, Rapid Fire Cannon, Triforce, fully stacked Mirror Mana, Rabstar, fully stacked Mirror Mana, Infinity Edge, and Hurricane, these two are going to be doing some serious damage. MNM's objective on these Barons, on these Rift Heralds, not Rift Heralds, the Elder Drakes, is relatively slow just due to their comp. Enclave, you saw how much DPS they're actually able to do if their carries are left to their devices. So this could be a potential flip here for Enclave. We'll have to find out.
The ults from Harry haven't been fantastic this game, mainly due to his team kind of making them a bit awkward for him. The Elder Dragon is still up around this Baron fight, but like you said, MNM just need to keep hold of them at length. But what I would say is, you know, we're at a stage where it's 3-item Ashe, it's 3-item Corki. Enclave are now strong, like pretty strong. And you have to be worried about that as MNM. This is not a clear-cut team fight win for them in these situations. I am slightly worried. The leads that MNM have bought themselves, they just weren't able to close out at the right times, I feel. And you can see it in the way that the Enclave are playing. They know that they're strong with the Elder Dragon plus the 3-item spikes that they've got on their AD carries. This is a really big moment for them.
Kind of being somewhat alleviated. They do land a hook onto Rapper's clone, and Enclave still itching for the fight. Rabstar gets chunked out though by Vango, and now it's Shogun who's running away. Is going to just get himself hooked up and jumped into the Mega Inferno Bomb, lands onto 1. Facebreaker by Godanico onto 4 though is absolutely huge. As Rapper running to the winds gets cut down in his prime by Arrogant. And MNM, they've got Smite onto Vango, double Smite, no jungler onto Enclave. Feels like there's no way Enclave can contest this Baron.
I don't really feel like Enclave can dilly-dally around these team fights. I feel like when you have Elder Dragon, you press the Ashe arrow and go, right? That's the way that I feel like you've got to play these team fight situations. You lose the poke war every day of the week versus MNM. That's where MNM's strengths lie. So you have the Elder Dragon, you've just got to try and force the issue, force the fight. Look for a flank with the Wukong. Look for a flank with the Aatrox. Just whack out the Ashe arrow. That's the way that I feel like that Enclave have to play these fights to win. Because if you're just playing a long game of tennis where you're just batting back and forth, well, MNM are going to win that every day of the week. They even have a paddle star specialist in the form of Zoe. So, like, you're gonna lose that situation every time. So for Enclave, it's about finding a flank, finding the engage, utilizing their strong AD carry potential. They can't play the poke game.
I will say, though, Vango's done a really good job of kind of denying Rafa from being in the side lanes. He's always monitoring the side lanes, or the flanks even, from Rafa to make sure that, you know, Rafa can't come in and just blow up Harry or his team. And with the Cloud Soul, it's actually quite easy for MNM to step forward and just step back and disengage because the extra movement speed they're able to use. As once again, find a bubble onto Shogun. Shogun is able to survive it with the Unbreakable. Mid lane inhibitor getting started up by Arrogant. Bot lane inhibitor being started up by the rest of MNM. And Only Angel, their time has run out. They no longer have the Rift Herald, the Elder. Cleanse is used by Vango as he takes an Ashe arrow to the face, and with that down, it feels like this is do or die. Jacob does get himself the package, but the tower's already been used. This has to be the fight. The package is going to get dropped, but instantly they get the shutdown onto the Corki. Rapper's Cyclone is doing absolutely nothing as Enclave are just getting minced for a double kill. Picked up onto the Zoe, make it a triple kill. That'll be the end of the Nexus. That'll be the end of the game, and MNM cement themselves in first in the UKLC.
Oh, it was definitely a harder task than they would have liked, especially losing that Elder Dragon just from being a little bit overzealous on the end. But MNM come out victorious. It was, I think, deserved given the way that they played the early game. It was a really strong performance from them overall. And I'm really glad to see MNM continuing to go from strength to strength, because even if people maybe don't rate the individual players, you know, I guess on an individual level, quite clearly as a team, they are the best in the UKLC right now. They are definitely up there. I am sure the likes of Monster would like to have words with them, you know, about that statement. But just in terms of pure scoreline alone, you cannot refute they are definitely the best team in our league. Yeah,
they definitely are. I mean, I said that game looked like really one-sided for a long time, and I was like, this doesn't look like the two first teams going up versus each other. But you saw some life out from Enclave. They were able to sneak away that Elder Drake, kind of punishing MNM for being over aggressive, and that was nice to see that it wasn't just Enclave rolling over and kind of just losing that game. They did buy out the time they needed to pull that game back. So, you know, Enclave, it's a heartbreaking loss for them, but they won it last time. It's Enclave who win it this time. Sorry, it's MNM who win it this time. So these two teams are now tied apiece. So if we do get to tiebreakers, we actually could be set up for some really, really exciting stuff. So I can't wait to see what the next few weeks actually bring from the UKLC, because it's been such a back and forth season. And me and Orcs have been talking about this every time we're on the show together. What makes this so exciting is it isn't just Fnatic and BTXL just sitting at the top of the league. For this Division 2, there is a lot of core talent. There's a lot of players who stand out, even on some of the weaker teams like Thomas Go and Bulldog. There's a lot of just core talent in this league. And it feels like this is something that the UK scene really, really could have done with. And I'm glad we've now finally got it, because it is just going to develop our teams so well. And I feel like this MNM roster, a lot of these players could cut it in the NLC.
Oh, I think... Yeah, no, I think that's a very bold statement. I've just forgot to turn my lights on again. That's a bold statement. That's a bold statement to make for sure. I think this team is good. Individually, I don't know whether they look good because they're great individual players or great as a team. I think, you know, Reclamation said it really well, that they are better than maybe than the sum of their parts. But I think they have potential to go on. Like, there's a lot of potential room for growth to only get better from here. And quite clearly, a team that is at the top of the UKLC, they are nearing NLC level. They are definitely nearing NLC level. Yeah. I don't know how they would fare at the NLC level, but
I by no means am saying they're gonna this team would walk in, beat XL, beat Fnatic, beat Tricks. Like, I'm not saying that, but they could definitely hold their own. This MNM roster probably could hold its own better than the actual MNM roster over in the NLC. Personally,
actually, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I think this MNM roster could have at least picked up a win somewhere. Yes.
It's good to see the growth from them. It's like Aragon especially is a player for me who has impressed me, because he came in as a rookie last year when the UKLC started up, and he looked good. He looked good, but he didn't look like one of the top guys. I mean, there were the likes of Sendo in the league back then, so there were some, you know, bigger and better players, but even so, he looked very middling. He looked very he was very clearly not at the top. And then he's come into this split and he's taken over this league, and I am really, really sold on Aragon as a player. And it's not just because, you know, some of these better top laners are now gone, because he's dealing with people like Rifty and stuff as well, who are, you know, are NLC level top laners. You can see in the last year as a player, Aragon has grown massively.
Oh, I think Aragon is exactly as Rifty said. He's a top laner that has real potential, and I think we need to keep our eyes on him as a top laner. I think one of the questions I have is, like, you know, outside of the Renekton, like, are we looking at a guy who has got as much potential and as much carry potential? Because every time I've watched him, he's been on the Renekton. It's been a pretty sort of a comfortable pick for him. So I want to see more breadth from him. But, you know, Rifty, I trust Rifty when he says that this guy has got a lot of versatility to his kit. So, you know, Aragon's a guy that I'm keeping my eye on. I think he's going to go from strength to strength, like you and Rifty both mentioned. And I'll be excited to see where this guy's career goes. But I think there's a lot of players on this MNM roster that could do the same.
Absolutely.
You know, I think Harry has been, you know, a pleasant surprise to me, even though he wasn't exactly the most impactful that game. He's still been pleasantly surprising across the UKLC split as a whole. And actually, speaking of one of the players, we've got Godanica for the interview. I remember Orc saying, you know, at the start of the split, not totally sold, but then, you know, after we saw more games from him, he's gone from strength to strength, and he's continued to impress, and you know, he's looking like the real package jungler that MNM needs. I'm not saying that just because he's here, but I remember the week 1 I said I wanted to keep my eye on Godanica. I was sold on him, and he's proven me right. He's actually, this might be the first time ever that I've been right over Orcs. And actually, speaking of the man, Godanica is ready for an interview. Godanica, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Hello.
Hey, thanks, mate. Thanks for making me look smarter than Orcs on one thing for once, because that doesn't normally happen. Congratulations on your win, and congratulations on taking first in the group.
Yeah.
That game was okay for the most of that game. It was pretty one-sided. Did you expect it to be that one-sided, or did you think they were going to put up more of a fight like they did towards the end of that game?
Personally, I think Enclave are like the team that is like the scariest after. So the teams that I think are probably the strongest are like Monster, London, and Enclave. But out of those three, Enclave are probably the easiest to play. Because personally, I think their macro is quite weak. They're really good at just like brute forcing stuff. Like they just play around vision and just brute force kills and stuff. But their actual macro is quite weak. If you watch some of the games, the way they close out games, it's not very clean and it's quite sloppy. And like it's very flippy the way they play the game, I think, personally. So against Enclave at least, I was pretty confident that we would win because our macro is actually probably the strongest, if not one of the strongest, in UKLC at least. That's how I felt anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would agree. I think given that game, I think whenever you run a Ziggs, it's going to be a slower paced game in general because there comes a point where you're a bit gated, where you get all the outer towers and suddenly it becomes a little bit harder to make a breakthrough. Plus, your like objective taking power is a little bit lower than if you had a traditional AD carry, right?
Yep.
But that game there, obviously you were in control for the majority, but you did get to the point where you lost the Elder Dragon, 3 items Spike and Corky. There was 3 items completed on the Ash. That was a scary point in the game for you guys. So how did you deal with that stage? Because really, you shouldn't have really let the game obviously you wouldn't have wanted to let the game get to that stage of the game, right?
Yeah, the game should have never gone to that state. With the lead we have, I think we could have forced a bit harder, but we were just playing it safe. But also, even though they got the Elder, we were never really scared because against a comp like ours, it's pretty hard to siege. You can't really siege against Ziggs, right? Their comp wasn't good for. They didn't really have a real way to engage except Ash ult, and they couldn't really force onto us. And we had enough wave clear to make sure they couldn't really use the Elder. So as long as we played respectfully, there's nothing they can do, even if they got the Elder. But 100%, we should have gone the Elder instead of going for the end, and the game would have been probably like 3 minutes faster.
Yeah, for sure. I actually we were talking a little bit about obviously you guys looking like potentials to make it towards NLC qualification. Where would you stack yourself? If you were to sort of hazard a guess at where you would be in NLC as a roster, where would you put yourself as a roster in NLC right now? What kind of power ranking would you give yourself? It's a hard question, I know, but I'm interested in your opinion.
I mean, I'm not going to be cocky. NLC is a different. You can even tell from the level. It's just generally a higher level. I wouldn't say we'd be at best middle of the pack, around lower pack probably. Honestly, I wouldn't lie.
I think that's a relatively fair. I would agree. I'm not flaming you guys or anything.
Yeah, but
NLC,
that's just generally how I'd expect it as well.
Yeah, because NLC is just quite clearly sort of one of the highest level leagues in Europe, of course. But I think the important thing is that you guys have shown growth, and you can continue to grow. And there is scope with a roster like yours to get to a point where you could be NLC level, which is the most important thing when you're playing in the UKLC. You're not playing to win UKLC. You're playing to obviously you are, but obviously you're playing for growth as well and playing to expand your capabilities as a roster, which, you know, from seeing MNM at the start of the split to getting to this point, there has been a huge amount of growth in your team, and it's been really nice to see. Yep,
I do agree. I think we've improved a lot since the start. We've gone a lot better individually, but our teamwork has also gone. But it's also because I think individually we do mesh quite well. Like outside of League, we do play other games together, like Formal Party, Golf with Friends, so as a team, we're like pretty close, and I think that helps a lot because when things aren't going your way, no one is like just completely out of it. Everyone's like supportive, and we have a good atmosphere going, I think, and that really helps.
Yeah, I bet that does. Well, congratulations on your win, and also congratulations on taking first in the UKLC. Thanks. Obviously, still more weeks to go, so you got to keep that hard work up to make sure you can hold it. But thank you very much for joining us for the interview, Godonica, and we will speak to you later. Now, guys, we're rounding everything out. Let's have a little look at our standings here in the league. It was nice to hear from Godonica. Having 3/4 of his face on the show is always very nice, but you can see MNM are standing now at the top of the league. Then it's Enclave and London and Munster all tied between 2nd to 4th. Envision are down, unfortunately, in that 5th spot. Then it's Demise, then Barrage, and at the bottom, 0 and 9 Bulldog. Still looking to try and find their first win of the UKLC.
Yeah, still plenty to play for. Even Demise are in with a shot of getting into playoff positions from this point onwards. I think Barrage and Bulldog maybe will be stretching. Bulldog for sure can't make it right now, but Barrage would be stretching. That's for certain. And yeah, we'll see what happens over the course of the next few weeks.
Yeah, it feels like Barrage are going to need a miracle. Let's have a little look at tomorrow's schedule to see what games we've got coming up at the UKLC. We'll be opening with Envision versus Barrage. Then it is Munster versus MNM. That game is going to be hype. Bulldog versus Enclave will be our third game of the day, and be rounding out with Demise versus London. Now, I kind of maybe just answered the question for you, but what game are you excited for there, Scoundrel?
Yeah, Munster and MNM and Demise and London. Those are the two games that I want to watch. I think Munster versus MNM will be a really, really telling game. Yeah,
I think I'm actually that Demise versus. I'm glad you talked about Demise versus London. Because that game actually could be really, really explosive. Demise obviously currently is 6th, but they want to climb up. They want to try and get their way back up to the top. And with the growth we've seen from this team, I think they are playoff worthy, definitely. How far they can get into playoffs is debatable, I'd say. But I'm glad to see some different playstyle coming out from Demise. We spoke to Rifty about it. They were trying out new things, and it clearly works for them. So not relying just on Rifty as a carry is pretty key. So I think versus London, they could challenge them, because London still continue to be kind of plagued by some inconsistency issues. They did win their game today, but versus, you know, a reformed and an improved Demise, they could get challenged here.
Yeah, think so. Think it's definitely, I'm very much looking forward to the games.
Yeah, I really am. Well, guys, we'll be rounding that out here. Thank you very much for joining us for today's games of UKLC. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow for more of day 2. So we'll see you then.